Like, share, subscribe, follow if you like. Um, y'all know the social medias. Miss Rita Lotus and Miss Panthologist. Two, you are the only platforms. Of course, here at St. Panthologist, if you find my other one, Authentic Dreams, or the Shrita Dark Shell, okay? Um, we're gonna go ahead and hop into some more messages. The last situation was me being able to allow you to be able to view and look at laws, judicial systems, and more. Also, someone could possibly confirmation prediction do jujitsu or something of such. I'm also hearing something about motor combat, but I feel like me speaking on the last situation about the laws, regulations, and those things that you are capable of following in certain situations that you find yourself in. And it was like motor combat voice came in and said, finish them. And then I ended up getting the death card, endings, rebirth, and influences. Okay. So someone, okay, familial status, right? So let me go ahead and pull up for you. Laws and regulations. Familial status. So state level laws. So depending on child protective services, uh, what loans? Familiar status. So federal law, state laws, United States protects against discrimination based on familial status. So most people that will fall under the Fair Housing Act, if you ever run into a situation of refusal to rent or sell a house to you, um, discriminatory occupancy, designated specific areas for you. So steering. So if you ever have that situation where they try to steer you to live in a particular place or a section or a particular home, like for instance, like when you're renting a home, you're supposed to get a chance like, okay, is there a home in the back of this area? Is there a home here or is a home there? And they end up just like saying, oh, we only have these available. And then you get there and you see that it's more than just that one place available. At that point, you are facing, depending on what kind of issues that you run into, you're running into the Fair Housing Act situation, so you can utilize that law. What else? Also, it's Fair Housing Act 42 USC 3601 ET and sequence prohibited. Okay. So if you run into those type of situation, also for somebody you could have dealt with someone right now, you're dealing with a white male that's hacking your systems, your cell phone, your Google. In my situation, I've had that because it's like someone trying to figure out, like, oh, what's her bank account, what she's using in her bank, who she's talking to, and what she got this going on. Also, those laws where you can see where people invade like your phone privacy and things like that, there's laws and statutes and regulations for that. And when you find out that people are doing that, there's a way to like backtrack and figure out who, or the code, the location of where people doing it. And I think I was just like, I had to like kind of look back into my old computer skills. It's not great. I'm rusty. I ain't gonna say I'm a little rusty, I'm rusty, but I'm pretty much, somebody's name could be Rusty as well. But it's like certain things you can look into when it comes to them violating your rights, whenever it comes to them using your cell phone or being inside your cell phone or using your phone company to like redirect your phone calls, your text messages, and all those things. So you can actually sue people for those grounds as well. If, especially if you can prove it, which I have proved time and time again about them redirecting my phone calls. I've been able to prove them like not answering calls or getting it to a point where other places where people could spoof call or similar call, like they're calling from the VA and it's not them calling from the VA type thing. So for somebody, it'll be a situation as such. Also, like if you ever deal with that, that is a form of not cyberbullying. It's gonna come to me, come back to me. It's not cyberbullying. I'll find the word. Give me a second. It's like a form of them doing that. It's like violation. It's also a violation constitutional. It's also a violation of your privacy. So it's part of Privacy Act. Also, there are certain laws. Florida is not strictly like on those laws, but there's still loopholes for you to do it. So I don't know how deep your situation can go when it comes to them violating that right, but it's a part of the Privacy Act, though. Okay, because they don't have major ones, but if you do run into cyber crimes, I dropped the tab for you to be able to look into it. Okay. Also, this would be a form of them utilizing psychological abuse, which can also run into I'm gonna find the correct word and the term to use so you can look into it for yourself. Someone could be doing this. This white male hacker could drive a Chevy, a Tahoe, or an Impala, a Ford. So I'm getting a Chevy Tahoe, a Ford Fusion, that could be doing this as well. For somebody, you had somebody hire like a model citizen or someone to play in that. Also, somebody could have been considering to hire like one of their most handsomest people from their police force to try to like court you, to date you, to get a dirty cop, undercover cop that's going to portray to be a model and like wanted to take you out on a date and all this other stuff. Also, with these people that could be doing this, they have an informant on their hand. Like someone could like to go sleep at hotels on the low or do other things on the low. It's some people in this dang on community, honey. If it's a wife sitting here getting in her feelings, baby. The only reason why I laugh about everybody over here in Preserve Leaf, I was like, if you only knew what I knew about half of y'all husbands in this neighborhood and what site that they be on, because I made a fake page like I want to say like last year. And when I say some of their faces that I be seeing every now and again, it's like, oh. So the audacity for them to even try me is like, I mean, unless you just with them type of things, when you not home, your dog playing with some shit they ain't you don't know about going on. I mean, your husband. Someone could have a thing for messing with like 304s and druggies because they feel like they're not going to tell anything. A bald black man with a beard, a Gemini, Libra, or an Aquarius. A white female doctor that they could be trying to pay for somebody. Child, they trying to pay for somebody to come in and like get information and like figure out what your weaknesses are. Like, oh, tell them that you're gonna take them on this weekend dang, and tell them that you're gonna take them to their food or something like that. Like someone is really trying to figure out a way to get out of a court case. Somebody's trying to figure out how to get out of a court case, or for a court case to not go a particular way. Someone could be a pimp. One's supposed to be the pimp and another one's supposed to be the bottom B. Someone that could be portraying to be a model or something like that. Someone could actually be pimping out these men. Someone could be trying to portray like, yeah, I do tarot readings and I do this and I do that. And it's like, no, you don't. Because it's like this will piss a lot of people off at any given moment. And you doing tarot, you doing spiritual work, and you try, and they have the audacity to be like, I'm an empress, I'm a high priestess, but I still got to work and I still have to go do this. Certain occupations, jobs, and if you ever figure out that they have like, say they got a link tree and they got a Snapchat and they got Reddit, and you end up figure out that they do OnlyFans or Backpage, they are not no high priestess. They are not an empress. They're not none of that. Okay. They are not none of that. Y'all hear that? So someone, okay, let me tell y'all about that. So say for instance that it's you find yourself in a hostile situation. Most of the in Puerto Rico, their thing was when they wanted to do certain assassinations, they had this bad habit of lighting fireworks. Okay. Now, when you're in the United States, most of the time they can cover that situation and say within the vicinity, you may be within 5 to 10 mile radius. Most of the time, it's within a 3 mile radius, and say that this is. I'm gonna tell you how elaborate it gets. It gets so elaborate that you'll end up hearing the EMT, the fire alarms, because they're super super loud, right? And depending on how close that they are, and then you want to know if it's like police involvement and all this other stuff, just figure out if you're seeing the local PD, the sheriff, and see what type of EMT and which fire department responds. Because in your area, if like where you live and you're not sure of what location of your fire department, which is always important when you move to a new neighborhood, know the location and the fire department number. You need to know what precinct and local PD is near you. You also need to know how far or the radius of your sheriff department, because they are your like basically your first responders in a situation. Also know how far is the highway patrol. And most of the time when they get ready to do they undercover and dirty work to like get rid of people, and Florida is very notorious, and that stuff stop and cease right here with me, is that they'll alert the either the EMT, the ambulance cars, or they're going to use the fire department car. And then they're going to make sure that you don't hear it running up and down the street, or miraculously you'll hear like airplanes, you'll hear choppers and stuff like that. But they'll have it going earlier during that day to like throw off your senses. And depending on who's the target, or because it'll usually be up to like 1 to 3 people that they end up targeting with this. And when they're doing it, that's why I say you have to pay attention to when you hearing the police codes and stuff like that at any given moment, because they do this while they're with these EMTs, these fire departments and stuff like that, because they be involved in it, right? When you hear the fire alarms or that ambulance coming through, that's when they get ready to use not their work pistol, they'll have on their personal pistol, and then they'll end up calling off during that time and be like 10-7, and then go drop off the weapon and then go back to regular duty as nothing happened, and be like, oh well, this miraculous shootout or stabbing occurred. You need to pay attention to what people are working on that day. You need to figure out what news reporters are coming in that day, because sometimes in most of those situations, and growing up in the hood, depending on who was the person, the news reporter, who was the people or the EMTs that come in there. Because if you like from real projects, like say if you still go to Miami, you go to the Pork and Beans know what ambulances is trusted to come in there. They know what fire department is trusted to come in there, and they know what police coming in there to be dirty or to do some nonsense. So depending on what's kind of moving, when it comes to Miami, if you go into the Cuban area, hey, they know who the hitters is. They know who the druggers is. They know who doing what. They already know who doing what. It's just them trying to figure out who getting crossed that day. So most of the time, if you stay in it, like for me, I chose a nice area for a reason. And the reason why I chose it, because I was like, in order for them to do what it is that they're doing, that will make alert to all the people who already stay here, and they're not accustomed to always hearing fire alarms. They're not accustomed to seeing, hearing the police all the time. They're not accustomed to that. So when you move to an area like that, it's going to eventually start sparking the alert of the people in the community. It's like, Well, what's going on? Are we getting more? You know what I'm saying? When you stay in particular areas, they're going to start being like, is there robberies or something? Is there people getting murdered? And of course, it's going to put people on high alert. But when it's on high alert, guess what? They got to slow their goddamn roll. But most of the time, when they're getting ready to do that, you will hear police sirens, you'll see the ambulance, or they're going to use the fire department. Those three things are very prevalent. And then say if it's like I said, in particular areas, and it's going off constantly, these people in those particular communities, they're going to start asking questions like, what's going on? What happened? So they got to run this big, elaborate BS type of news thing. And that's usually how it goes. So you can go back through the news. I'll tell somebody, if you feel that it's a theory or a conspiracy, excuse me, go back in the last 2 months, go look at a particular situation, go look at the if there was any recent shootings, robberies, stabbings. And when you go look at that, go see the area, go look at the statistics, the median, like what type of people live there, what type of careers they have, which will allow you to know if it's a bunch of lawyers, doctors, teachers. That's usually the low crime rate where there's nothing going on. But however, if it's like people that work fast food and all that, is going to be common in that area, right? So in order for you to test the theory, and this is an area where it's median, people are really peaceful, they know how to use their social skills, they should know how to have emotional intelligence. At any given moment in that statistics that it seems like something is out of order, just know that that was a paid setup hit. Another thing is, like I said, pay attention to your hospitals, police departments, fire departments. Make sure within the last 3 to 6 months of any financial donations, events, campaigns have been ran in your area, especially if you live near recreational centers, parks, hospitals, or certain food grocery places, and you see that their financial reports, that right there be enough to go ahead for you to figure out anything that's going on in that area at that particular time. It's just the facts. I'm only able to give you facts. That's why when certain investigations going on and they be like, oh, I don't know. Yeah, they do. Because anytime that any sort of case is being prolonged, someone is being paid off to prolong it. Two, is someone that's involved where they don't want to lose their position because it's like, oh, well, I'm the commissioner, I'm the general or the lieutenant of this police department, and the commissioner came to me or the senate came to me and be like, hey, I'm gonna need you not to say anything. I don't want you to say nothing. I've seen it happen plenty of times. And in order for them to keep it calm well, I got to keep the commissioner happy in order for me to keep my job. No, the fuck you don't. It just means that you know how to do your job, and the commissioner know he can't pull a fast one on you. And most of the time people get into that position or that mindset because they don't have backup plans. They don't have any real goals because it's like, well, my goal was to keep this job for 20 years. But in any time during that time, did you not know corruption can occur, right? So they're going to utilize you. And at any given time, you need to understand the moment that you break and you go ahead and delay something, now you're looking at, you now invited yourself, unbeknownst to you, whether you chose not to do it and you didn't want to do your job and you wanted to please someone, you're now at a people pleasing position. The facts are the facts. So you looking to please the people versus doing your job. They come with money and they just paid you to shut up. Now we're looking at, depending on the person who will keep saying, what's taking so long, and you can go ahead and figure out how to close the case already, and it's taking them 6 months, years, and stuff like that to solve the case. The case could have been already closed down. They could have been already closed the case. But at the point where you can sit there and be like, well, this was here and this was here, and you presenting evidence at any time, now you got a claim and you can go ahead and take that shit to Supreme Court. Don't go out there and retaliate on anybody, especially if you know something was wrong or whatever. Take that shit to Supreme case. Take that stuff to IA. Take that to DEA. And most of the time, they don't expect for you to take it as far as you do. But most of the time, they'll try to play it like, well, if the DA comes in with this shit, you have really hardcore evidence and you taking it into the right people and they're not involved in corruption, trust and believe me, a case can always be closed within 10 to 11 days. At maximum. At minimum, they can usually have a case closed within hours. In hours, and I mean like 48 hours. Because you remember the show, The First 48? They can have a case solved in 48 hours. Anything longer than that, that's procrastination. And if somebody is able to point out details, because most of the time they be paying, like sometimes they even go to the projects and pay some of these people off. Well, shit, they already struggling. They on food stamps. They'll sit there and watch them on social media. Be like, oh, and they'll watch them on their phones because most of the time they'll end up getting them government phones, Metro PCS phones, and they be watching their texting habits, what they researching, what they looking into. The females, they know that they be, want to be girl, hot girl, want to go get their body done. Shit, they will front it, or they'll get people that they know that they can hire to go ahead and trick off on them real quick and be like, keep them distracted so we can go ahead and do what we need to do. I'm so serious. I am so serious. They be knowing the women be desperate. They know that these men who cheat on her half of the time, they don't be even knowing they be dealing with inmates. Oh, we just let him off and look, you can go ahead and keep this person off of them. We're going to pay you this amount of money, but you got to make sure it goes to them. Don't pull no fast one. And most of the time, they be knowing what it is that the people will do. Also, I have made it clear earlier, too. Most of the time, you'll have people that be dating y'all, and y'all don't be knowing y'all be dating pimps. Y'all don't know if y'all dating a bottom female. Y'all don't be knowing that most of the time that they come in. Can you take your disgusting self off of here? You must be desperate. Find something better to do. But most of the time, some women don't pay attention, or men. Some men don't pay attention either, because sometimes people be like, "Oh, this person ain't got their kids," and da da da. Well, yeah, they don't have their kids for a reason. For one, two, it's because if they did bring the kids into the situation, those are not really their kids. They need to earn your sympathy as the man. Like if they feel like the man is gullible or the woman is gullible, if they feel like the woman is gullible, the man can utilize like a niece, a nephew, a cousin, and sometimes it be their own kids where they, and say, and y'all be thinking it's their kids. It'd be like their niece, their nephew, their little sister that have the same features. Like this was like a psychological warfare once upon a time to go ahead and get certain people to be committed to psych wards. It was also a forum to get certain women to break down psychologically, and the state will win money off of them. So however many people that they can fill up in psych wards or get them visit certain areas so they can do clinical research, they would do it to a point where they had to do research on prison reform people. They will also use it to use certain medications on people, drugs, you name it. I'm so serious. It's been happening for years because I remember watching it, and it was one service that when I go look it up, they changed the name and it was called Kelly Services. So at any given time that you was a juvenile, I'm going to say in the early 2000s, I'm going to say from 1998 up to 2012, at any time that you had that type of situation or system, guess what? You were part of their research. Oh, this person looked like they're a body of psychopathy. So they're gonna make sure that that person will meet somebody that was underage or something like that. But to them, they'll be like, "Oh, they my age," and not knowing they'd be like, "That's why when a man would tell me like I was 21, or I was 22, and this person was like 16 or 17, right?" But it was a law that had passed on the military that military men could mess with females that was 16 and 17, right? And but unbeknownst to a lot of people, that was a research study. That's why when folks like, "Oh, they a pedophile, they are a predator," like some of them are, but other ones they were used for clinical research. That's why somebody sitting there like, "What if you feeling like I'm targeting you?" And clearly, I just said I'm not targeting you. You're emotional. You're too emotional. You have no business being here because I basically wasn't targeting. But if you're sensitive and emotional like that, that means you get offended about any and everything. That's weird. But I'm just pointing out the facts. Like they would do that as a research to do that, to people to figure out exactly what was their habits. Would they take on, how would they utilize that situation? So like say when they did it, and when they did it on the military base, and they knew soldiers would go ahead and go after these young girls, they were doing this just to see what was the behavior of one. There was one try to figure out the behaviors of the girl Two, they will see the behavior of the soldiers because, like I said, the soldiers were allowed to date the girls 16 or 17, but if they were 16 and 17 and they were dating military soldiers, they would have to have permission and consent from the parents first. So, meaning a man could be in his 20s, his 30s, but that man would need the consent or the approval of the parents to say yes, that the girl could date them. So at that point, military wise, it wasn't considered like predatory. That's why when people be like, "You're not," I'm not, because my only question gonna be, what did their parents say? And if the parent didn't say anything and they went along with it, why? Who am I to judge you if their parents allowed it? Guess what that allowed me to look? I got to look at the parents, and I'm not gonna look at you, but I'm gonna also look at you. How long did you stay in it? And most of the time, 10 times out of 10 in certain situations, you want to know what end up happening with these soldiers and they get these young girls? They will figure out what they could do with them. 10 times out of 10, I'm going to say 9 times out of 10. Some of them will do right, but most of the time they will either abuse them. If they were coming back out of, if they was getting out of the military, they would pip them girls out. That's usually what happened. It was going to go one or two ways. Something, it was like very small and very, 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 very few of them that would actually do right, have families with them, still interact with the girl and her family just to keep it healthy. Now, I've seen it in healthy situations, but then it's also, it leads to like this been happening for years. So that's why when people start to speak on certain things, it's like you gotta open your mind and go ahead and click into it, because it be people, especially black people in black communities, oh well, our families is together, and look at my grandparents and we're about 5-6 generations. Okay, now the difference is with y'all families and versus this situation, if it was like military soldiers going ahead and dating these young girls, but they had to be 16 or 17, right? But they had to have the permission. The other difference is some of these black families, I said, well, shoot, if you actually think about it in black families and they be trying to portray this, we're so strong. No, the fuck you're not, because your granny was only like 12 or 13. So if y'all seen the movie The Color Purple, she was like 12, 13, 14 years old. She already had like 2 pregnancies, which was unborn, and it was coming from her own dad. You see what I'm saying? And then they'll be like, well, our family stayed together. We did this. That is RAPE. They did not want that. It was unconsented. And most of the time, those were runaways because they were already growing up in families where it was already too many kids in the house. They was tired of the responsibilities. And then they end up meeting a grown man, or, 10 times out of 10, if you met a woman and they came from California, Texas, Louisiana, Mississippi, Chicago, or from like New York City, oh baby, they was with a slick talker, and 10 times out of 10, I'm gonna fit to show you because I know I can't say the word. They was either dealing with one of these, and they end up becoming one of these, and they end up marrying, and then over the time, whether they tell the kids or not, they didn't realize that Miss Shirley and Miss Susie up the street, y'all remember that song, Barbara, this is Shirley. That type of situation, they knew that up the street that their husband had other kids up the street, and they be growing up in the same neighborhood, and they be like, we family, but they would never want to claim the other lady up the street and her kids, and there used to be certain beefs. There you go. It's a lot of stuff that runs so deep. That's why I tell people, like, listen, I'm not a person to judge, but I will point out some situations for you to understand. Like, I'm not for to judge you, but if the moment that you get ready to judge other people's situations and things like that, that's why when it comes to certain communities, 10 times out of 10, any man that is Hispanic or black and they end up becoming, is due to the simple fact they were touched as a kid. And nobody wanted to address it. So 10 times out of 10, they're acting out the traumas and the abuses that they didn't ever get to see their family truly heal from. Also, psychologically and genetically, it's not like they're born this way. Psychologically and genetically, say that 10 times out of 10, they'll come from a single parent home. And psychology research is there, and they've done it, but they don't want to make it public just yet. There's been psychology to show that, say, for instance, I was pregnant with my son, Adrian, right? And in that, I wasn't confused, but it was just like, I still just needed to know, right? And it was like, he was still in my womb. Me still testing the theory of, do I want a man? Do I want a woman, right? I've now genetically embedded with this child still growing in my womb that when his chances are very, very high. He has like a 57% chance that, hey, he can still be hetero, but he will still be very curious to want to sleep with the same gender. Now, the chances go up to about 80% or too close to 100% for him to attempt to conceal it and conceal the urge that it's a possibility with his dad being with the genetic behavior of him stealing, scamming, and always being explorative or super active hypersexual. Guess what that chance has now turned into? Now I'm at an 80 to 90% chance that this child will, one, he's going to be beyond into it once he gets active. Two, it's going to allow him to be on the fence, and he's going to always want to, depending on how you raise your kids, to be mannerable and things like that. And if they seen the mom, in particularly, depending on the behavior of the mom, if the mom got abused, taken advantage of, he's going to look for a man that's going to be able to do that. Or he's going to turn himself into the woman that he wished he had seen his mom do. So if mom wasn't the person that didn't always take care of herself, she didn't always do her hair, her nails, she was always mistreated, guess what that boy is going to turn it? He's going to turn into everything he wished his mom was. He's still going to respect his mom. Don't ever get it twisted. But it's going to be that the behavior of what he's going to carry is because of that. And then depending on what the behavior of the father, if they were super absent and then the father becomes super aggressive towards that boy, is going to make him more, oh, I got it. You see what I'm saying? It's just, to me, it's like basic psychology. Like, I don't care either way, but I get it, you know? But some people don't know that. So don't ever just be sitting there like intentionally just try to take it on and be like, oh, is it? Shit can be fucking healed. You know what I mean? But some people don't understand that. That's like no difference than somebody messing with a young girl. Like if they was like, let me see, a 4 to a 5 year gap is not bad. Anything past a 4 or 5 year gap, you're let it go. Let it go. It's either 5 years above, 5 years under. Anything past that, you're overdoing it. It's like overkill. And that also allow you to see psychologically the trauma within the person. Because it can either show you one, psychologically where they were traumatized and stunted at emotionally, physically, and sexually. So depending on how the person chooses to date, you can tell. Also, depending on, more likely females get more advanced, or certain in men too as well, if they were meant to be out there in the world and they had to fend for themselves and they had to be more of the adult in the home. Like you had to be, like for me, I had to be the adult. How is it I have a mom but I have to be the adult? Every time they're crying, they're getting hurt. Every time the bills is due, like you got to make sure the bills is paid. You got to make sure that they're okay. You got to make sure that they wasn't drunk, that night. You have to make sure that you're getting up in time to make sure you make it to school. You got to make sure the house is clean. You got to make sure you got food and stuff like that. You're going to be older than your age because basically you had to go ahead and be older than what you are. So your childhood was basically robbed of you because you had to be the adult. And then when it comes to you dating, it's going to become super difficult because guess what? You had to develop emotionally, logically, and you had to like being, in childhood and wanting to be playful and things like that. It's going to be difficult for you to make that transition to want to be playful. And then when you finally get into that place to be psychologically, emotionally, or in mass majority, physically safe. And sometimes some people's physically safe, it ends up causing confusion. So some people can easily misconstrue abuse and them, like say the person is abuser, right? They're getting abused, right? But say somebody try to harm them and the person who they're with that's clearly abusing them and they hurt the other person, to them, they're like, I'm safe. I can do what I want, but they're not understanding you're being abused. You see what I mean? But some people just don't get it. But those who will, they will, I'm not here to judge. It's just the facts are the facts. Some people are not going to like it because you're taking away from me being able to. Who gives a shit? If they want to wake up, allow them to wake up. And they don't wake up, they don't wake up. Just don't take advantage of somebody who want to wake up. And if you got to take advantage of someone that wants to wake up, it sounds like you just don't know how to get your money up on your own. Clearly, we're just going to do radical acceptance. This is also for those who said that they're mature adults. I'm having an adult conversation. That's where children should stay in their place. Because anyone that's getting triggered from anything that I'm saying, you're not an adult, you're not a trusted adult, and clearly you're not emotionally available or psychologically immune, or let alone ready to accept reality. So that'll allow you to know exactly where you stand with people around you, okay? Also, like hoodoo, voodoo, a Hispanic female, dark skin, could be paying for dark spell work, trying to travel and things like that to do certain things. They could have had a kid or got pregnant around November or December. Ooh, somebody could be Hispanic and they could be dating someone and they could be like, yeah, I'm pregnant. You remember we got pregnant around this time. But they're actually pregnant by a black man or something like that. So in case somebody needed to know that. Someone could proclaim to be racial bias situation, racism, or colorism, miseducated. So this is like a person that'll be like, I can't stand black females. I can't do da. But and they're, you know what I'm saying? And then it's like they got a thing for black dudes or something like that, but they can't stand the black woman or some weird shit like that. Colorism. They just don't understand. They're just miseducated. It's like, there's nothing for me to get mad about. I've seen it all the time. So that's why when people do certain things and say certain things, like, you're just miseducated. That's no different than someone like an Aryan person trying to call me the N-word with the ER. Oh, you feel I'm ignorant. Poor Tink Tink. Esa cabrona, esa morena perrieta que shut up. Learn better. Learn better. Let me teach you the dead Latin and the Greek form of the palabras you use. Be mindful of triggers. Avoid binging. Someone's name could be like Benji or something like that. Benji or Benjamin. It's all about the Benjamins, baby. Someone could be watching that movie. Someone knows someone's spiritual. I don't know which one they're trying to use for that one. Also, this black dude or a Hispanic female, dirty undercover cop, same sex. They could have worked with a doctor in November or December and a spiritualist. Also, someone could know someone that do work for like DCF or DHS or something like that, or like the police department. Confirmation. Somebody's baby father is a sperm donor. You are worth it. Trust your body. Single agent. Somebody could probably be working like independently. Intermittent fast. Somebody is definitely an undercover. For somebody, like, once a case closed, I'm getting like, oh, damn, that's a cutter, man. That's a cutter. For somebody, it's going to be a situation that's going to be revealed. And it's like not to get discouraged, because I think I said it in a message a while ago. Like, for some people, if you're a woman, you find out you're pregnant or whatever, and the kid's father doesn't want to be around or whatever. It's not like they don't want to be around, but it's one of those, because it's saying baby father sperm donor, and it's an undercover agent. The person's not going to get around, come around. It's not like they get around or something, or they probably do. I don't know. It's part of the job. And this is like, I think I said this in a message a while ago. Like, somebody could actually be in the same sex marriage or something, or they could be a CI, FBI, CIA, anything. They could work, like, it's something that they got a very big job. And in that job, it's like someone that could have got like a person or a few people or something pregnant or something like that. And it's like the person, once the job is over with, they have to leave and they're not going to be able to like return. Or it's like they could, but it's just like an alias or something like that. But for somebody, it's like, shit, you got a sperm donor. Just keep the information to yourself. Somebody's homeboy is an informant. Someone could have chose a side in a situation to change for serious. Hold on. I can barely see that one. I gotta remember what I wrote. Side, they chose a side, making the change for real serious, struggling, yet they're doing it. May something. I don't know what I wrote right here. Karmic masculine can be divine if they choose to. Finances, sexuality, stability, and committed. So someone could be committed to doing something, but I feel like someone has to do something. I don't know. Also, a black male that works in an airline. They could work a front desk job, a stewardess, a car rental place. Someone could be a real estate agent, flight attendant. Someone could be driving around in an SUV. Libra, Gemini, or an Aquarius male. Somebody's in love. Something about the hours between 6:30 and 9:30. Someone make sure you just focus on one thing at a time. A black female traveled to Georgia recently to do some type of spiritual. Ooh. Someone's about to get caught because somebody's going to ask them a question like, so what did you. I feel like someone. Okay. So I feel like someone has set up Florida, Georgia, Alabama, Mississippi, Louisiana. I feel like they had to get clearance with Louisiana and Mississippi to do this. Alabama went along with it. Georgia went in the Carolinas because the North Carolina, South Carolina is the Gullah Geechee Central. Georgia also has Gullah Geechee. Mississippi has the Mississippi Delta, which has been very known for more high profile for people to do the same work. The Bayou, everybody know Louisiana got that. And with them doing that, I feel like some people may have noted in those cities and in those states of people who do spiritual work or hoodoo work. Of course, in Florida, they know it's going to be a mixing pot. So they could have set themselves up in the Dominican community, Colombian, Cuban, and Haitian communities very heavily. Also, they could have found like some, white people that do like satanic work, and they're figuring out like if people will travel to these places. And yikes. A male Hispanic traveled to California to do some work. They were paid money to do something. Somebody could be trying to, a love spell possibly, like, I need them to choose me. Someone could get caught up in like a massage parlor. Also, someone needs to go. I know I do. I just don't want to be touched right now. I did like a massage. Someone needs to do a spa day. Time for a massage, like a spa day, like hot stone, deep tissue. Because I'm getting like, I can hear somebody's like, you know how like they do the massage where you can hear the muscles pop? Like what's it called? Deep tissue or a hot stone. Like somebody need that. Or what you call it when they start stepping on your back and stuff like that. I think it's like a Russian massage where they go in there really good down your spine, in your neck, where someone could need to go to like chiropractor. Oh, okay. Somebody could also a massage parlor. A massage parlor. Somebody could get caught up in like somebody about to be careful. They go to these massage parlors trying to get happy endings and shit. Be careful. Tease is not the time to do that. You're weird. Show me more discreetly. Who the fuck are you, bro? Find you something better to do. You're weird. They were never your friend or family in the first place. Somebody from the projects or the hood. Someone's last name could be Green. Somebody's last name could be Black, or someone could be Black. Someone could be a police officer. Someone could work at a hospital. It's either a police or a hospital. They could be Black, Haitian, Jamaican. As long as they Black, they got melanin. A corrupt individual. Someone can see that you're light energy. A cycle is about to be closed, or cycle is officially closed. Child, these people are also going to get caught child bullying by an adult. Someone could found evidence and proof. Someone, if it was an adult bullying a child, they're about to receive really bad karma. Everyone you have or are suspicious of has been beyond accurate. And with that, it was another thing that pointed out the accuracy of people doing something they had no business doing. Like I said, they caught these people trying to go pay for spell work if they wasn't able to do something. A real estate agent, someone can run a company. What is it called? Bison modeling company, but it's low-key a trafficking company. It's a movie called what's it called? The Sound of Music, where the little girl was playing the drum and it was a single dad and he had the little girl and little boy, and it was a undercover agent that had to go rescue the little girl. And the father was like, I just allowed my baby to go because, she wanted to model. And they said that she had a chance. And he went back to go pick up his child. And they ended up finding out that the baby girl ended up getting trafficked and stuff like that. And then it was just like, that was like a heartbreaking, but I could relate to that movie. Like, I felt like I was reliving my life all over again when I saw that movie. I went to the movie theaters, saw that. It broke my heart. Because I really, as I was watching that movie, the guy that took me to the movie to go see it, bro, when I say I literally had like a full flashback of my childhood, it was just like every emotion, everything that happened in there, it was just like, I didn't tell him and I didn't say anything, but I literally had like a flashback. Like, I was traumatized, but then I wasn't, because it was like the relief I had was because it was like she got rescued. And then like Brady Jones and like, you a big baby. It's like, I wanted to punch him, but it was like, he don't understand, so he don't know any better, so I'm gonna leave it alone. But I literally felt like I was reliving the shit that had happened to me when I was like 3, and then when it happened to me again when I was like 6 to 8 years old, and it was just like literally pieces of it after the kidnapping and stuff like that. I just remember that shit so vividly. The churches, the people that would do this shit, I had remembered everything, and I was like, things are going to be what they are. You know what I mean? Anyways, that's the message of that. But somebody, you're surrounded by a bunch of dirty cops, but it's about to be an end to that. What's the final thing? Perception of unity protects against accidents and heal the sick. So hospital people, they could be trying to get immunity and tell it on people within their community, police officers, lawyers, judges, associates and acquaintances. Gives consolation and protection against one's enemies. Yeah, this is like somebody trying to get immunity, protection program for themselves. A Gemini, Libra, or Aquarius, or a female, Leo, Aries, Sagittarius. It's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 females that's telling. 4 of them are still close to people. Someone could have ties with people that could have been born 1940, 1963, and 1972. They're getting told on for something they did in April. Heavily of what happened in April. Some people could have told information about March or February. Okay, something that was done April 10th. Excuse me, I'm so sorry. Somebody's telling on a married couple as well. Also, it's going to be some information that comes into a married couple, a husband about a wife. Sir, whatever you do, don't flip. Divine grace cures rage and pestilence, absolve the guilty. A husband could have got information about what their wife could have been involved in. Also, current people are not all real family relatives. I'm aware of my situation, but for somebody, they're going to discover that all the people that they're around are not their relatives. Which for me, will be a blessing to know that none of these people are my relatives. That would be like the biggest relief of my life. It's like sad, but it'll be a relief. I feel like somebody, when you get the, I know when I get this information, it's probably gonna make me cry for a little bit, but then it's like I'm more prepared for it mentally, and it's like I'm more prepared for it psychologically and mentally, but it's like emotionally, it's like whew. It might be a little bit of small, little bit emotional roller coaster, but however, I feel like I can handle it. Archangel Gabriel. Divine revelation reveals messages and have the power to destroy some people, especially somebody fit to break down some people that was born in 70 between 1963 and 72. So it's a group of people. So someone could be born between 1963 to 1972. So this group of people could be getting hemmed up, locked up, caught up. I'm hearing hemmed up, locked up, caught up, shut up. Finally, I'm hearing locked up mainly, and they're not getting out. So these group of people that was born between 1963 to 1972, they're getting locked up. Yep, definitely getting locked up. Somebody could have told these people like, yo, this can get us locked up. You know that, right? Construction of the universe helps great works and protection for adversaries. Also, someone could have called like a friend or a buddy that does some kind of construction work, long services, electricity companies, or something like that back in March 18th or 19th. For somebody else, I feel like someone's going to find out your birthday. The birthdays could have been switched, but you could have been given like an alias or a false name or something like that. And something was done under pretenses. Yep. Breaking the circle lists the opposing barriers. Also, someone's going to find out like their true lineage. I feel like also some people are going to figure out via ancestry in 23, like the DNA place. Someone's going to figure out that they got false results. Yep. Someone is trying to figure out something to keep. Somebody wants to make sure, oh my goodness, someone is like, damn, I don't want somebody to know something. Because I feel like somebody telling somebody is like, that'll break their heart. But I feel like someone's like, they're strong enough to handle it. But it's like, you know how something you do fucked up, but it's like, I don't want to tell them, but it needs to be told. It's like, it's something very big. Makes one passionate towards God. Because, baby, listen, the only thing I got is me and God at this point. So, shit, telling me anything at this point is like, cool. Also, it's going to be a group of people between the age of 24 and 48. Some of these could have portrayed themselves to be, they try to trade information to get away. Also, these were people paid to give false information and to just manipulate someone's DNA. Yep, someone who was definitely paid for this. Transformation gives consolation and adversity. Like someone you could have been going through a lot, and I feel like it's starting to calm down. After today, something is going to calm down. Intellectual talent provides knowledge. Knowledge, it shows. Someone could be offered like an Ace of Pentacles, or something could be given. Someone it may be given around August 31st or before. For somebody, you could probably get something in the next 8 hours to 31 hours. Something. Spiritual wisdom and magic helps one gain wisdom and discover hidden secrets. Someone could be feeling like you use like wizardry or something like that to pertain the information that you got. And it's like someone's like, what? It's like, how is it that you have so much illegal surveillance on a person and you still think someone's doing magic? Like, that's the weirdest thing ever. And it's like, somebody know it's a lie. Like, that was the same thing. I think his name is Journey of Scorpio. he's a reader here on YouTube. And even then it's like someone literally could, like, I've seen it happen where I try to screenshot it and tell them like, hey, is someone making pictures of me and making profiles, and they're sending messages to people acting like it's me and making like full messages to other people and making it seem like I'm trying to threaten them, I'm trying to do all this other stuff, I'm talking crazy to these people or whatever, but it's them making the profiles. Like, I don't have Facebook, I don't have Instagram, I only have the Miss Rita Lotus. So you got to make sure you're paying attention to how the Miss Rita Lotus is made. You have to pay attention to Miss Panthologist to you, which I recently just opened that page, but it was like somebody could have made like a Facebook page group and utilized all of that to message people or people they thought I spoke to do all this stuff. Also, they could have got people to manipulate DNA, blood results, and everything. So, but they found it, so it doesn't really matter to me. And I feel like it got presented to the DEA, the FBI, and everything else because at this point, they're just watching what these judges is going to do and everything else. So they just watching everybody's move about what they're going to do. Like earlier, I could hear the person having a full conversation. I was laying down and they were right outside my window, and they knew that someone had them on a tracker to show that they were like literally in front of my house, in front of the apartment. But clearly they didn't knock on the door. And the fact that they didn't knock on the door, it was just like, they're going to pull like, oh, she didn't answer the door and all this other stuff, which they already still, like, they can clearly see that they're trying to redirect the phone calls and all this other stuff. So it is what it is. Patience reveals secrets of nature and spreads knowledge of the industry. Archangel Michael in the building because somebody felt like they was about to pull something, pull a fast one. All right, let me go check and make sure my trash can got taken.